Welcome back to Cameron Sports Podcast. It's your Sir Cameron Lees. I'm back with another brand new episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be giving my 2026 NFL draft grades from this year's NFL draft back in April. Let's get right into it. Starting with the team that had the number one overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders. I gave them a B. Like I said, I like what they did. Obviously, getting Fernando Mendoza, the best available quarterback in the draft, the Heisman Trophy winner. Like I said, they made some other solid picks, like drafting Gerard McCoy, the 101st overall pick. So, like I said, I gave them a B. Like I said, I like what they're doing. The New York Jets, I think they arguably had the best draft out of all 32 teams. Gave them an A+. They had 3 first-round picks. The first one was defensive end David Bailey with the second overall pick. Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon, with the 16th overall pick. And wide receiver Omar Cooper with the 30th overall pick. And also their dark horse pick they made in the second or third round, the 50th overall pick, D'Angelo Pons, the corner out of Indiana. Like I said, he may be small, but he's physical. He's has a great ball IQ, turnover machine. I like that pick. The New York Jets, I give them an A+. Arizona Cardinals, C+. If it probably wasn't for Jeremiah Love, I probably would have gave them a C-. But I gave them a C+. Like I said, I like that pick. I don't think they necessarily needed a running back, but I like the pick. Tennessee Titans, I give them a solid B. Like I said, they had 2 first-round picks. They drafted a receiver with the 4th overall pick, Carnell Tate out of Ohio State, and defensive end Keldrick Folk out of Auburn with 31st overall pick. And they drafted running back Nick Singleton in the 5th round, running back out of Penn State. Like I said, I like all those picks that give Cam Ward some weapons with Carnell Tate, and that helps improve their defense a little bit more. So I like what the Tennessee Titans have done. The New York Giants, I gave them a B+. Arvell Reese, that's a solid pick. Like I say, arguably could have went 2nd overall, but he fell to the Giants at 5. They drafted Francis Muagwe, I can't pronounce his last name, offensive lineman out of Miami. Like I said, I definitely like that pick. That helps protect their young quarterback in Jackson Dart. Now, that 5th overall pick, I think they should have drafted Caleb Downs, because, like I said, the pass rush is already solid. You already got pieces on that deep front 7. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I like the pick, but I would have went with Caleb Downs. But I give them a B+. The Cleveland Browns arguably also had one of the better drafts in this year's draft. I give them an A. Drafting Spencer Fano out of Utah helped establish that offensive line. You got some weapons with KC Concepcion also in the 1st round. And then in the 2nd round, they got Denzel Boston out of Washington. So they're going to give their quarterback some chances, like whether it's Deshaun Watson probably to start the season or Shedeur Sanders. It gives them a chance, to really evaluate the quarterback position for between now and next year's draft, when that loaded draft class with Arch Manning, Julian Sayin is going to be coming in. So, they get to see if they have a quarterback. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders. I gave them a B-. Not really too in love with their draft class, but I did like the pick at 7 with Sonny Styles. Like I said, he has potential. A big physical linebacker that can run, has 4.46 speed. But it's not all about the combine. It's what you do in the field, and his tape don't lie. I think he could be really good in that Commanders defense with Dan Quinn as the head coach. New Orleans Saints, I also get them a B. Like I said, solid draft, nothing too crazy. Of course, I like their 1st overall pick, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Like I said, opposite of Chris Olave, helps Tyler Shough, their 2nd-year quarterback, and Kellen Moore as the head coach. So get that offense going. And the Kansas City Chiefs, I hate to say it, I give them an A-. They had a really good draft. Their 2 first-round picks were amazing. Cornerback Mansour Delane at 6 overall, and defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson with the 29th overall pick. That definitely helped their defense get younger, faster. So I love that. That improves their defense heading to this upcoming season. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals, I gave them a C. Like I said, they did just good enough as they can do. They drafted defensive end. They didn't even have a 1st-round pick, to be exact. So they drafted defensive end Cassius Howell at 41st overall, and Kobe Young at 140 overall. So they did what they could. So they didn't have a 1st-round pick because they traded that for Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. So there's nothing really they could really do. So I gave them a C. Next up, the Miami Dolphins. I gave them a B minus. I love the pick with Caden Proctor at 12 overall, and I also like getting Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. They got him in the second round, so I definitely love that. Like I said, the Dolphins are rebuilding that franchise. Like I said, you got Malik Willis, so I think it's pretty solid. I gave them, like I said, B minus. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just messing around for those Cowboys fans out there. But all seriousness, I give the Cowboys a solid A. I think they had a really good draft. Getting Caleb Downs at 12, that's crazy that he fell to 12. And also get another first round pick in Malachi Lawrence at 23rd overall. And another defensive end, and I believe it was 92nd overall, Joshua Burham. So that Dallas Cowboy defense was tremendously bad last year. And I think with these two picks in the first round, that's definitely going to help their defense get better, especially Caleb Downs in the secondary, because I think they had the worst secondary in the league last year by far. So I think that's definitely a great pick right there. I give the Cowboys an A. The Rams, I give them a C minus, mainly because, like I said, there's really nothing they really needed to do in the draft. Now, of course, they did draft Ty Simpson in the first round with the 13th overall pick. So it's like they know that because really the Rams had their draft during free agency in the offseason when they traded for Trent McDuffie. They signed another corner from Kansas City. That was their free agency. That was their draft. So really, it's like, okay, we did what we need to do to win now. Let's also think about the future. And I know people don't like Ty Simpson, but really, to be honest, he had a good season last year. The reason why it kind of went downhill wasn't on him. Receivers dropping passes. The offensive line was bad. They couldn't run the ball at all. So the Alabama offense was very predictable. So I don't think it's all on him. I think he can have a really solid career. And plus he's in a great situation. What other situation would you want to be other than Sean McVay as your head coach? Look what Sean McVay did with Jared Goff. Went to the Super Bowl, and now he went and won the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. If he can do that, I feel like there's no way he cannot develop Ty Simpson into a solid NFL quarterback. I think so. But other than that, like I said, the draft wasn't too crazy. I give them a C minus. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens, I gave them a B plus. They drafted Vega Loon, 14th overall. I wanted him to go to my Chargers, but I like that pick for the Ravens, helping protect Lamar. They also got Lamar some weapons with wide receiver Jacoby Lane, 80th overall, and Elijah Surratt from Indiana with 115th overall pick. So they got some weapons for Lamar. I definitely love that. Like I said, this is year 9 for Lamar. They new head coach, you got a new regime, so that definitely helps right there because you did just lose your starting center who signed with the Raiders in free agency. So it was definitely important to help improve that offensive line, even though he's not going to be playing center. He's going to be playing guard or tackle. So, but I still love that pick. I give the Ravens a B+. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I gave them a B. Like I said, I love the pick of Ruben Bain at 15th overall. It's crazy that he fell to that, but I know because of his arm length, that was a big issue heading into the draft. Like I said, because they said he got real short arm length, but I'm like, watching him on tape, I really don't think it's gonna matter like that much, to be honest, because that man is a monster. He's a beast. He's definitely one of the reasons why Miami made it to the national championship game with him and Akeem Mesidor. Definitely beast, and I love that pick. I think he should be the favorite to win Defense Rookie of the Year. Him and Caleb Downs, definitely two should be favored to win Defense Rookie of the Year. Next up, got the Detroit Lions. I gave them a C. Like I said, nothing too crazy, nothing really they needed to do besides help their offensive line. And they drafted offensive tackle Blake Miller with the 17th overall pick out of Clemson. The Minnesota Vikings, I gave them a D+. Like I said, really nothing they needed to do either. They had their draft in free agency when they signed Kyler Murray to help compete with J.J. McCarthy. So really, like I said, the offense and defense, they're fine. But they did draft defensive tackle Caleb Banks out of Florida, 18th overall. So that helps their defense a little bit. But we'll see. So Hey. Next up, Carolina Panthers. I gave them a C. They drafted offensive tackle Monroe Freeling, 19th overall. That helps, with Bryce Young, protecting Bryce Young. The last year's draft, I had in my mock draft them drafting the receiver out of Arizona, Ted McMillan, and I was right about that. So I was like, okay, get him another weapon. This year's draft, they need to either focus on that O-line or D-line, which they did also. The D-line drafting Lee Hunter with the 49th overall pick out of Texas Tech. So I give them, like I said, solid C. Nothing too crazy, but it's a good C. Pittsburgh Steelers, now I gave them a B, like I said, they also improved the offensive line, drafted Max Therature in the first round, Jeremy Bernard in round 2, Drew Aller in round 3, and Dalen Everett in round 3 also. So they had a solid draft right here. Like I said, I don't know if Drew Aller's going to play, but, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers last year, so maybe if he could sit behind Aaron Rodgers and maybe be the guy, you never know. And next, my Los Angeles Chargers. I know what you're probably thinking, because I covered my Chargers all last season, and I'm gonna cover them this upcoming season. But I'm gonna give them a C+. I love our first round pick, Akeem Mesidor, beast. Like I said, he had a great season last year for Miami, led the team in sacks. So I love that pick. After that, it's like drafting offensive lineman Jake Slaughter, 6th overall. Wide receiver Brandon Thompson out of Mississippi State, 4.2 speed. I love that, but what I love even more, if you can catch the ball and you're fast. It's like what I love about Keenan Allen is Keenan Allen, even in his prime, was never a speedster. But everybody that talked about Keenan Allen was his route running. That's what we talked about, Slay. That's why they called him Slay, because his route running. And he could always get open on 3rd down and catch the ball most of the time. So we'll see. I feel like they kind of after the Akeem Mesidor, they kind of drafted for fit. Like, okay, we may not get the best available guy, but let's draft for fit. So that's why I give them a C+ for getting the needs that we needed. Because when the season ended, I said either we need to go on O-line or D-line. And we couldn't get the offensive lineman we wanted because the Ravens drafted him. So I said, hey, get a D lineman, and they drafted Akeem Mesidor. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that pick. I'm fine with it. So I gave them a C+. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think had a great draft. Getting Mekhi Lemon in the first round. One of the best, the Biletnikoff Award winner. Trading up. This is the second time the Eagles traded up with the Dallas Cowboys to get a receiver. And the last time they did that, they went to the Super Bowl. So, and then with that happening, I think A.J. Brown is for sure getting traded. When they drafted him, I said automatically, oh yeah, A.J., he's out of there. But June 1st, by the time June 1st comes, it's going to be officially announced that A.J. Brown will be getting traded. Because if they would have traded him before June 1st, that dead cap money would have hit them hard. And that's like, something you don't want to be, buying to. And Howie Roseman is the best GM in football. So he knows, like, hey, we can't trade him before June 1st. So, and they also got tight end Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, and they offensive tackle Markel Bell in the 3rd round also. So I think they had a really, really solid draft, helping, like I said, get some weapons on the offense and improve the offensive line a little bit more. Next up, the Chicago Bears are going to be B+. They helped improve their defense, drafting Dylan Thiemann, safety out of Oregon, 25th overall. They helped improve their offensive line with their getting a new center because their starting center retired. They drafted Logan Jones, 57th overall, and drafted speedy receiver Zion Thomas, 89th overall, and defensive back Malik Muhammad out of Texas with the 124th overall pick. So if I'm Bears fans, you got to be excited. That's helping your defense. That's getting another weapon for Caleb Williams, helping your offensive line. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this Bears defense looks, how Caleb Williams looks going forward, improving. Will they take a step forward again, or will they take a step back? Was it just a one-hit wonder? So, you never know. Hopefully not, because that happened to Jaden Daniels last year. They went to the NC Championship game his rookie year, then last year took a big clip. So hopefully not. We'll see. But I like what the Bears did. I give them a B+. Also, I give a B+ to the Buffalo Bills, drafting defensive end T.J. Parker early in the 2nd round with a 35th overall pick out of Clemson. Cornerback Davison Igbinosa out of Ohio State, and offensive tackle Judy Barrow. I can't pronounce his last name. So I like the Buffalo Bills did right there, improving that defense. I think T.J. Parker, he could have been a first round pick. He's right here in Phoenix City, Alabama. The high school is right up the road from where I live right now. So yeah, I love that pick of Buffalo. That's a solid pick right there, right, for the Buffalo Bills. Next up, the San Francisco 49ers. I gave them a D plus, not because they didn't even try. Like, they drafted who they could draft and best available fit for them, because really the 49ers didn't really need to address anything in the draft. They just need to stay healthy. That's the main problem, is staying healthy. So I gave the one pick I did like they draft was Keelan Black, a running back, 90th overall from Indiana. I like that pick. So next up, the Houston Texans, I gave them a B minus. They helped the offensive line, drafting offensive guard Keelan Rutledge, 26th overall. Defensive tackle Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, 36th overall. Tight end Merlin Carolina, 59th overall. So helping a stacked defense already with Caden McDonald. That's going to be a great fit on that defense. Also improving the offensive line with Keelan Rutledge, and another weapon for C.J. Stroud on that offense. Next up, the defending AFC champion, the New England Patriots. I gave them a C minus. Wasn't really in love with what they did, but they did improve the offensive line with their first round pick, drafting offensive tackle Caleb Lamu, 28th overall, I believe out of Utah. So that helps protect Drake May, because the offensive line with the Patriots was horrendous. You can see in the Super Bowl, he was under pressure the whole time. So, but other than that, I really didn't really like what they did too much in the draft. Not because it just was boring. It's just The Seattle Seahawks, I also gave them a C minus. Their first round pick, Ja'Jorian Price, I'm just like, why they need a running back? They could have waited in the second round to get Ja'Jorian Price, and they probably could have tried to get. They could have tried to get Casey Concepcion or Denzel Boston, anybody, Zachariah Branch or even go defense, or T.J. Parker, but they went to get Ja'Jorian Price. I guess they believe that he could be just as good as Kenneth Walker was for them. We'll see. It's like, because it's like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to draft a backup running back who wasn't even the starter on his own team. But I mean, it has happened before, but in this generation, I haven't really seen that too often. Maybe one time I've seen it. I think it was when Josh Jacobs and Najee, was it not? It was either Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris or something like that. Where Alabama one backup running back went before the starters. It was something like that. Or Damian Harris. It was Damian Harris or something like that, I believe. I think it was Josh Jacobs and Damian Harris or something like that. But yeah, next up, the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons had a solid, good draft. I gave them a B. I love what they did, drafting Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. Zachariah Branch from Georgia, 79th overall. Kendall Darrells, 134th overall. And Arnold Perkins, 215th overall. Really, Arnold Perkins could have been a first-round pick after his freshman year, but, after that, he's been injured a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see where they put him at. They're going to have him as a cover linebacker or a pass rushing linebacker. What they gonna do with him? Because Arnold Perkins, he can play. He can run sideline to sideline, and he can rush the passer. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Also help getting Zachariah Branch, a speedster. That's another weapon on offense for the Falcons. It's gonna be interesting to see who they're gonna have at quarterback. Is it gonna be Tua, or is it gonna be Michael Penix? Now that I don't know. That's gonna be interesting to see. That could be a topic we could talk about on a future show soon. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts, D minus. Not really love what they did. They didn't have a first round pick, but I did like the C.J. Allen pick, 53rd overall out of Georgia. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Denver Broncos, I give them an F. Not being a hater, the only reason I give them an F because there's really nothing they really needed to do in the draft. They literally have brought back everybody, I think, from last year on offense and defense, just about. So there's really nothing they really needed to do. So I'm not giving them an F because they're rivals to my Chargers. I'm giving them an F because it's like you got an A in the class, A plus in the class, and you decide not to do the project, and you gonna at least still pass with a B. Even though I wouldn't advise to do that, but so And last year, the Green Bay Packers, they didn't have a first round pick. I give them a C minus. They drafted for fit. Drafting cornerback Brandon Sias, 52nd overall. Defensive tackle Chris McMillan, 77th overall. And Deanna Dennis Sutton, defensive end out of Penn State, 120th overall. So those are my grades for the 2026 NFL Draft. Let me know, do you agree with all of them? Like I said, I believe outside of the Broncos, I could probably say the Vikings had the worst. The Vikings or the Colts had the worst draft between those teams. The best, I think, is the Jets or the Cleveland Browns. I think I'm going to go with the Jets because getting 3 first-round picks, you got David Bailey, you got Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper, and you got D'Angelo Ponds. The Jets, that's a bright future. And then next year, the Jets believe they got 2 and 3 first-round picks again next year. So the future's, as far as the draft, is looking bright. Now, I don't know if they can put that into motion, but as far as like potential on paper, the Jets have a bright future ahead of them. So Jets fans, you just gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see what's going on, see what y'all got. So hey, but that's my grades for this year's draft. Let me know in the comments what you believe who won the draft. Future episodes coming, about some more football. And yeah, I definitely appreciate you when y'all tuning in. If you want to continue to touch down with Cam, continue to see your hosts bring content to you consistently all year, different sports all season. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, follow me on all social medias regarding Cameron Sports Podcast, and I'm always be here tuned in with y'all. I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all take care.